the Simple Finance demo. As you can see, this is a brand new UI presented given from SAP. As you can see, this Simple Finance has been built using Fiori with the HANA has been the backend. You can also take the guided tours. You can also watch the introduction videos. But let's go directly to the accounts payable modules and accounts receivable modules, as well as the general ledger. Let's look at um, all the three, how Simple Finance works in these areas. We'll also look at the procurement and cash management, in a short term. So I'm going to start really with the accounts payable module. So in the accounts payable module, basically the vendors will send you invoices. You probably have posted the invoices in the system. So now I'm going to be managing the vendor line items. So means I'm actually looking at the vendor line items. I would click on that and it's going to bring us the actual line item display for vendors. You can see this is a brand new interface compared to what we are used to in SAP. So from my vendor, I'll just do a drop down and I will do a search and I will see all my vendors. I will just click on one of my vendors and click on OK. And I would just again do the same thing, company code, do a search. As you can see, this is fairly fast. Show me all the open items, show me all the cleared items, or show me all the items. Okay, I'm going to say show me all the items. I can also click on the posting date. I'm just looking at the the full year here. Okay, item type is normal items, and I would just go ahead and say go. Okay, welcome to the Simple Finance demo. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back to the very first screen again. So we're gonna be focusing mostly on the accounts payable, accounts receivable, as well as the general ledger for Simple Finance. In the accounts payable section, let's look at the manage vendor line items. In the manage vendor line items, basically I'm looking at the open items, closed cleared items, as well as all items within the AP accounts payable. I'm looking at all the vendors. So I would click on the drop down, do a search. I would click on one of the vendors, click on OK. Now I would go ahead and select your company code, do a search. I'm selecting the company code 1710, click on OK. I'm showing say all the items for a posting period for this year, and I would click on OK. I can there are 5 filters. I can go back and change the filters. I can hide the filter bar. As you can see, red means it's still item is still open. We have not actually paid that particular item. I can also say all cleared items. Obviously it'll show you all the cleared items. I can say go. So there are no cleared items at this point of time. I can also look at all the open items. I can say go. Okay, so I can show, I see all the open items. So I would click on one of the items. I can click on change documents. I can block this for payments, and I can unblock something for payments. I can, let's say, go to change documents. Basically, I can change the baseline date. I can change the item payment block. I can change the payment method for this particular item. I can say this is going to be for check. I can put in some additional data, and I can click on OK. I can also click on the actual line item details and vendors. I can see his number and his address. I can see for that particular vendor, I can see the total balances. They can also do payment block. Let me look at the total balances for that particular vendor. So I'm looking at now the vendor balances. I can see all the periods 1 to 10. I can see all the debits and credits and balances, and also it will show you the cumulative balances and also the sales and purchases made for this particular vendor for fiscal year 2015. I can see all the periods. I can also see any special GLs, that I have posted, any advances, that I have, made. I can also do comparisons, compare with, I can do comparisons in here. I can do also, differences for this particular vendor. So let me go back here. So that's the display of the management or line items. I think we just looked at display vendor balances. Again, I would select just the basic vendor, do a search, click on the high-tech vendor, click on OK. I would click on Go. I would click on the company code, search, click on that, click on OK, and then I would click on Go. Okay. So now I'm looking at all the balances, both debits and credits, as well as balances, cumulative balances, and also imputed interest, for this particular vendor. I can see the total balances. I see all the 12 periods and 4 special periods for this particular vendor. So I can do back screen, or I can go back to the home as well. Either way I can do. I can also manage the payment blocks that we, I think, just looked at. The system that we have right now doesn't have full functionality. The only thing we can see is manage vendor line items, display vendor balances, and as well as manage payment blocks. Very limited functionality that we have right now. But also let's look at the accounts receivable, how that works. Same thing, manage customer line items. I can click on any customer, search. I can click on, let's say Silver Star. Okay. I would click on company code, search, similar things, click on OK, go. Okay, it's thinking. I bring that customer 171000. All the items are open. Its status, I see the company code, I see the assignment text, document date, document number, document type, due date, and then so on and so on. Okay. And then I go out. That's the manage customer line items. I can also display customer balances, just like we are looking at the line items, just very similar to the vendor line items. I can click on customers, search. So far the screens are pretty intuitive. You don't have to compare to the old SAP. It seems pretty fast, and also it's a web based screens. I can see all the customer balances, both the debits, credits, balances, cumulative balances, and as well as the imputed interest. If there are any special GL transactions, you can do as well. You can also do comparisons. You can also do comparisons with another year, 2014 or 2011, and then you can see the percentage difference. Okay, I can go back out, and I can now process receivables. So I'm going to find a customer. I just think it's going to be a high-tech customer. Okay, so for this particular customer, you can see the address. I can see that 6 invoices that have created. There are 4 cleared items, and there are 0 disputed and 1 promises. So you can see like a complete cockpit for this customer. It's pretty new for simple finance. You can also see a due date grid. So when these payments are due means these payments are actually past due. So you can see that promises have been broken. It's not disputed, but you have not received this particular item. It's been days due, 269 days. Okay, so again, it's pretty nice and intuitive. You can click on one of these items. You can create a disputed item. You can create a promise when the customer is going to be paying. So it looks like a collections cockpit. When things are due, you can see the number of days things are due. You can see 0 disputed item, 0 promised item, cleared item. So you can see like a full cockpit kind of a scenario. Very nice. I can also post an incoming payment for this particular customer. The customer has sent you the check, either it's coming through log boxes or actually hopefully it's a check. So I can select an open item. I can select the customer. I can do a search. Let's say I'm going to do the same 711 customer. Okay, say propose items. I'm going to put in document date, that is let's say tomorrow's date. Let's see, accounts, comes receivable adjustment. Okay, and I'm just gonna put my $100. Okay. So I can enter the value date. It's gonna should be maybe 26th. I can enter header text, reference text. Generally, these are customer payments, DZ. I can enter my amounts. I can pick my house banks. I can also do proposed line items if you want. So you can actually make an incoming hosting for this particular customer. There's some problem here. HTTP request failed. So, but using these screens, you should be able to, there are no proposed line items at this particular point. Let's see if we can change this to $1,000. CC system any proposes. That's okay. Again, there is a problem. It looks like with this system, it should have proposed some line items. You can select the proposed line items, and I can apply the payment. Looks like there is a problem at this point of time. So I'm just going to leave the page. Okay, I can also look at any overdue receivables that should have been paid but have not been received. So again, it should look like a cockpit where I can select the accounting clerk, company code, all the customers. I can see basically today so I'm just going to select only that particular company code, pretty much all the customers. I can say by due date. I can say top 12 receivable accounts. So you can say these are the top customers that you need to receive the amount from. So big change compared to SAP, where you can see by company code, table, total receivables. I can look at by accounting clerk. In this example, Mr. Smith, Mr. Wagner. Total how many dollars that you need to receive. Receivable in the third period due, in the second period due, by it's showing by periods due. Okay, I can look at different charts. I can look at in a grid format. I can also go back and say by customers in a table format, or we can look at a graph format. You can also look at customers by all region. Okay, you can also narrow it down by the state. You can also narrow it down by the country. You can also look at only single customers. So pretty nice overall. So I'm going to go back to the home. Also at the very top you can see there is a drop down, so I can search by cost center. I can search by, let's say I want to search, let's say accounting documents. Okay, so I want to search by, let's say, expenses. Search. So I want to search just a one. Okay, do 1 star. So okay, I'll do by 2 star. There is some kind of an error at the back end. Let's say I know there is customers exist. It's one with 1, so it's going to show you any customer that's starting with a 1. I can see all the or any string. It's anything that is a 1 within the customer range. So I can also search GL accounts, the same thing with a 1. It will show you all the GL account that has a 1 in them. So I'm searching both the master data as well as the GL accounts as well as the customers accounting documents. So I'm looking at both the transaction data as well as the customer data in one single place, which is in old SAP it was very tricky. You have to navigate many different screens to look at both the master data as well as transaction data. You need to know the T codes, you need to know the menu path. Here it's all in one, very nice and intuitive drop down. You can look at the supplier invoices. You can look at the purchase orders, house banks, goods receipt, fixed assets, pretty much any master data as well as transaction data you can search using this transaction. Very intuitive at the very top here. Okay, so I'm going to again go back to the front here. Now I'm going to look at the GL accounts, general ledger. I'm looking at the GL account balances. So I'm going to click on the leading ledger O1. I'm going to drop down on the company codes, search. I'm going to drop down on the company code button, and I'm just gonna just go. So I'm gonna seeing all the open items balances across all the GL accounts at this point. Okay, total cumulative, both debits and credits. Okay, I can also do a comparison of these things. I'm comparing now with 2015 versus 2014. Okay, and you can see that if obviously there is nothing in the 2014, so there is nothing showing up right now. Okay, but you can compare 1 year versus the second year. I can only bring in just one GL account, for example, cash. I can also bring 2014. I can also bring just a couple of periods in this comparison. I'll also look at the balances. For example, for that particular GL account, I can only look at the opening balances. So I only have balances in the period number 9 in this example. Okay, so a lot of functionality in comparison, a lot of functionality to bring the balances. So it's pretty good for accountants, basically financial analysts. So they're able to do a lot of things, look at the balances, do the comparisons month to month, year to year, just one GL account or multiple GL accounts. It used to be a very cumbersome effort in the prior versions of SAP. Now it's a big change. Okay, now I can also look at the procurement side. I can just go ahead and create a PO, for example, here. Okay, so I can click on the existing PO. I can click on the create. So it's going to propose all the data for me in the system based on the prior PO. I can just click on the submit. A new purchase order has been created. Now here you can see the supplier is there, company code is there, currency is there, purchasing group is there, purchasing organization is there. I have all the general data within the system. I just click on OK. Okay, so my new PO has been created. I can again go back to my prior screen. Now I can do a post goods issue or post goods receipt for the same PO. So I can do 17 star, or I can just do 1 star, or just do a drop down. Okay. Basically, I'm going to enter my storage location. Cancel. There is nothing. There is nothing here. Okay. Anyway, you should be able to, looks like somebody messed up the data in this particular example, but you should be able to enter the storage location and then do the post goods receipt. Once the goods receipt have been posted, you can click on OK, and then go to create supplier invoice. We should be able to again bring the yes, I should be able to again bring my PO. I should be able to do a simulate, and I can do a post. I can check the messages. Let's do simulate run for this particular example. I still is saying that the balances do not match, and also the payment terms have not been created. The tax has not been found. So you can look at your messages, or if everything is right, you can go ahead and post this particular document. So in the old one, you had many tabs, a lot of information. You had to click on multiple tabs. It was not very intuitive, but they made a lot of significant progress in the UI, user interface of the Simple Finance. Let's go back here again. So we have looked at the creating the POs, creating the goods receipt, creating the supplier. Let's look at the cash position for today. I'm going to look at only my one company code. I'm going to only look at US. I can filter down. It says by bank, my balances. So Bank of Cleveland, I have $4.9 million. Citibank, I have 808K. Bank of America, I have 627K. So very beautiful view showing the balances by country, by bank, which was very difficult in the prior instance of SAP. I can also look at the grid version, different balances. I can also go look at by company code. If I want, I can maybe click on all the company codes. So you can look at a total view. Only one company code exists in this particular example. Okay. I can also filter by different bank names. And I can look at by different currencies. So I'm looking at the entire cash position of this particular company in many ways as I want. I can create multiple views. I can create legends. I can zoom in, zoom out. I can expand it to full screen. So very beautifully done presentation for the cash position. Let me go back to the main screen. I can also track bank transfers, any wires, any ACHs, any transfers that you have done. So it's like a central cockpit, central cockpit where you can see the entire picture. We can see the entire picture of where things are at: exceptions, new, in approval, approved, sent to bank, completed. So I can look at all of the different statuses. Okay, I can also make a bank transfer, a new bank transfer right here. I can enter the amount, transfer date. I can look at the payment methods. I can look, say, Bank of America. I can create a note and I can make a transfer. I'm actually moving from one bank to another bank, moving the money from Bank of America to Citibank. Transfer date, basically, that's my from bank and that's my to bank, and I can make the bank transfer at this particular. Notes is intra bank transfer, and then I submit. Okay, so that's how easy it is to make a bank to bank transfer. I can look at the cash position. I can look at my procurements. I can also look at my sales orders. So this is kind of a pretty light SD. So the functionality is really not full. You can see that only we have few tabs. I don't see an F110 payment run. I don't see creating the customer, for example, or a lot of the GL FS00, creating the the GL accounts. So a lot of the principles are the same. You still have the same GL account, you still have the K4, you still have the posting periods, you still have the the debits and credits, the financial position. So a lot of the same things are still there, but they improved a lot of things. Now I'm looking at the financial statements. Okay, so I'm now click on the company code, for example, search, click on the company code. I'm looking at the financial statement version, search. Again, this is going to be my 1720. I'm comparing period 10 to period 10 to period 10, and I'm going to say go. Okay, so here I can see assets, liabilities, and income statement. I can see the total P&L down at the very bottom. I can drop down, or I can expand on the assets. I can expand on the cash and cash equivalents. I can expand on the petty cash. You can look at the period balances. You can look at the comparable period balances, and you can look at the absolute difference, and you can look at the relative difference. So very nicely broken down: assets, accounts receivable, inventories, PP&A, and also your liabilities, and also your basically income statement. I can look at your balance sheet, assets as well as my liabilities, cash and cash equivalents, accounts receivable, inventories, PP&A, my current liabilities. I can look at my P&L statements. I can look at my income statements. What is my net income? I can see that. I can see my cost of sales. I can see SG&A. I can see my provisions. I can see my non-operating income. I can see, from top to bottom. I should be able to see my P&L. I should be able to see my balance sheet. I can may even create notes within the system, and I can look at our all GL accounts, balances for all the GL accounts. So one central cockpit, one central place. You can filter by company code, you can filter by ledgers, you can filter by your financial statement, and also compare period by period. You can also display in which currency you want to actually display. So beautifully done financial statement version. The presentation aspect of it, you can look at the GL line items, you can display GL balances, you can look at the cash position. At least the presentation aspect of it has been significantly improved in the new GL aspect, in terms of it's again a web-based presentation. You can host this on a cloud. You can purchase this from SAP or any other vendors, basically. And using HANA, you should be able to replicate your existing ECC data into S4, and basically use this as a front-end tool going forward. So with that, Minha, you have any questions?
Yes. Is there any backend to this system, like SPRO that we have in ECC?
It won't be like an SPR. It will be like a Fiori based front end. But it would be a configuration. Yeah, I mean, it won't be SPRO, but it would be Fiori based configuration. And I can walk you through that as soon as I in the next class.
Sure. So basically, we are not going to get rid of ECC, even if we have the simple finance.
That's one option. I mean, the one of the option is you have ECC, you can migrate the data just like your HANA migration, and then use this as a front end tool, or you can simply get rid of it and then implement everything in using here. There are multiple migration paths we can discuss in our next class. Basically, I was actually planning to do that today, all the migration options, but but we'll do that